Have you ever noticed that as we age, peace becomes more valuable than gold? In our younger years, we may have tolerated drama, selfishness, or negativity. But in old age, these things drain the very essence of our well-being. The truth is, not everyone deserves a place in your life's final chapters. Seneca once said, "Associate only with those who improve you." But what happens when those who diminish you are friends, even family? Protecting your peace is not an act of selfishness. It's wisdom earned through a lifetime of experience. In this video, we'll explore 5 types of people you must avoid in old age. Not out of resentment, but out of self-respect. Some may surprise you. Others you may already recognize. Either way, choosing who surrounds you in your golden years is one of the most important decisions you can make. If you believe in the power of living intentionally, stay with me. And if this message resonates, consider subscribing for more insights on living a life of strength, wisdom, and tranquility. Now, let's begin. 1. The Manipulator. Imagine this. You're savoring a peaceful afternoon, coffee in hand, reflecting on a life rich with experience. Then the phone rings. It's a familiar voice, someone who always seems to need a favor, perhaps a ride, an errand, a bit of your time. At first it feels small, a simple act of kindness. But then it happens again and again. Each request is framed as urgent, each plea wrapped in subtle guilt. And before you know it, your golden years are no longer yours. They belong to someone else. Manipulators thrive on your goodwill. They know how to appeal to your nurturing nature, especially if you've spent a lifetime supporting others. They don't ask directly. They weave their needs into conversation, making you feel that helping them is your duty. And if you hesitate, they imply, sometimes gently, sometimes bluntly, that you're being selfish, that you've forgotten the importance of family, loyalty, or friendship. But here's the truth. Your kindness is not a debt to be repaid endlessly. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. True relationships nourish both parties, but manipulators only take. They are not seeking connection, they are seeking control. If every interaction with someone leaves you feeling drained rather than uplifted, it is not a relationship. It is an obligation disguised as one. The weight of their constant demands slowly erodes your peace, turning what should be a time of rest and reflection into a series of burdens you never agreed to carry. So, what can you do? The answer is simple but powerful. Set boundaries. You do not need to justify or explain yourself. A firm, calm response, "I'm sorry, but I can't help this time," is enough. The moment you start over-explaining, manipulators will find cracks to exploit. They will argue, plead, guilt-trip. But you must remember, your time is yours to protect. Ask yourself, does this person add to my life, or do they only take? The Stoics believed that peace of mind is a treasure, one that should not be surrendered to those who do not respect it. If someone consistently drains your energy, if their presence feels more like a weight than a joy, then letting go is not cruel. It is necessary. As you navigate this chapter of life, do not fear disappointing those who have no hesitation in exploiting your kindness. Your golden years should not be spent catering to those who do not truly value you. Saying no to a manipulator is not just an act of self-care, it is an affirmation that your well-being matters, and that, above all, is a choice worth making every single time. 2. The self-absorbed, the narcissist. Life in our later years should be a time of reflection, connection, and meaningful relationships. Yet, some people seem incapable of seeing beyond themselves. Consumed by their own needs, desires, and achievements, the self-absorbed, often described as narcissists, have a way of draining the joy and mutual respect from any relationship. They leave you feeling invisible, unheard, and undervalued. Imagine sitting down with a family member or friend, eager to share a cherished memory, a story from your past that still brings a smile to your face. But as you begin to speak, they interrupt, steering the conversation toward their own experiences. You try again, hoping to share a meaningful moment, but once more, the focus shifts back to them. Over time, you start to notice a pattern. Every conversation, every interaction revolves around them. Your words become background noise in their never-ending performance. Narcissists are masters of this dynamic. They crave attention and validation, often at the expense of those around them. And while their behavior may not always be intentional or malicious, the effect remains the same. Their presence is overwhelming, and your voice is diminished in their shadow. For those in their later years, this can be particularly painful. You have lived a life rich with experiences, wisdom, and stories worth sharing. You deserve to be heard, not just as a passive listener, but as someone whose journey matters. Yet a narcissist offers little room for such connection. Instead, they prioritize their own narrative, leaving you feeling like an accessory in their story rather than the main character in your own life. Recognizing this behavior is the first step to protecting your emotional well-being. Narcissists often use charm and charisma to draw people in, making it easy to overlook their self-centered tendencies at first. But over time, their inability to offer genuine empathy or support becomes painfully clear. They may dismiss your achievements, minimize your struggles, or ignore your needs altogether, all while expecting you to celebrate and cater to theirs. The key to navigating relationships with the self-absorbed is setting boundaries. This doesn't always mean cutting them out completely, though in some cases that may be necessary. More often, it means limiting their ability to dominate your time and energy. If a narcissist constantly redirects conversations, try gently steering them back. I'd like to finish what I was saying. If they dismiss your feelings, calmly assert your perspective. I hear what you're saying, but this moment is important to me. And most importantly, remember this: their inability to recognize your worth does not diminish it. A narcissist's blindness to others is their flaw, not yours. Do not waste precious time trying to earn their validation. It is a pursuit without end, a well that will never be full. Instead, seek relationships that nourish your soul. Friends, family, or community members who genuinely listen, who see you for who you are, and who value your presence as much as you value theirs. Letting go of the need to please a narcissist can be one of the most liberating decisions you make. It allows you to focus on relationships that matter, ones where respect, empathy, and mutual care form the foundation of every interaction. Life is too precious, especially in this stage, to waste on one-sided connections. By choosing to surround yourself with those who uplift and appreciate you, you create a circle of support that reflects the richness and beauty of your journey. In these moments of clarity, remember, your stories matter, your feelings matter, you matter. Never let anyone, no matter how self-absorbed, convince you otherwise. By valuing yourself, you set the standard for how others should treat you. And that is the foundation of a life well lived. 3. The critic. In the later chapters of life, one of the greatest treasures is the freedom to live authentically, to embrace who you are, what you've accomplished, and the wisdom you've gained. Yet, there are those who seek to rob you of this freedom. The critic. The person who always finds fault, who never hesitates to tell you what you should be doing, and who, under the guise of helping, sows seeds of doubt and negativity. Critics come in many forms. It could be a friend who always has something to say about your appearance, a family member who questions your choices, or even a neighbor who can't resist pointing out what you could do better. Their remarks may seem small in isolation, a comment about your clothes, a passing judgment on how you spend your time. But over the years, these words accumulate, creating an environment of constant scrutiny. What makes their criticism especially damaging is that it often says more about them than it does about you. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is nothing if I know myself to be right." Most critics are merely projecting their own insecurities, frustrations, and fears onto others. Rather than confront their own shortcomings, they find satisfaction in pointing out yours. But knowing this doesn't always soften the sting. After a lifetime of love, effort, and perseverance, you do not deserve to feel like you are falling short. It is essential to recognize that you are not defined by the opinions of others. The critic's voice, no matter how persistent, is just that, a voice. It doesn't have to be the truth, and it certainly doesn't have to shape how you see yourself. You have lived through triumphs and challenges, joys and losses, and those experiences have made you who you are. That's something no critic can take away. When dealing with critics, one of the most powerful things you can do is filter their words. Not every piece of feedback is worth your attention. Ask yourself, is this criticism constructive? Does it come from a place of care and respect? If the answer is no, let it go. Their negativity is not your burden to carry. For instance, if someone constantly critiques your choices, whether it's how you spend your retirement, your hobbies, or even your beliefs, you might respond with calm confidence. I appreciate your concern, but I'm happy with how I'm living my life. This simple statement reaffirms your autonomy while subtly setting a boundary. You do not owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live. Your time is yours, and it should be spent in ways that bring you fulfillment, not in trying to meet someone else's impossible standards. Another powerful tool is to shift the focus of the conversation. Critics thrive on negativity, so redirecting the dialogue to something positive can neutralize their impact. If a family member points out what they see as a mistake, you might counter with, "That's one perspective, but I'm proud of what I've accomplished." By steering the discussion toward your strengths, you remind them, and more importantly yourself, of your worth. Just as crucial as filtering out negativity is surrounding yourself with those who uplift you. Seek out relationships that celebrate your achievements and enrich your life, friends who share your interests, community groups that bring you joy, and confidants who offer support rather than judgment. These positive influences are like sunlight breaking through the clouds. They make everything brighter. And finally, remember, critics only have power over you if you grant it to them. Their opinions do not define your worth, your achievements, or your happiness. You have earned the right to live without the weight of their judgment, to embrace the life you've built with pride and joy. As you reflect on your journey, hold on to this truth. You are enough. You always have been. No critic, no matter how loud or persistent, can take that away from you. By letting go of their negativity and choosing to focus on the beauty of your own story, you free yourself to live with the confidence and peace you deserve. Life is far too precious to waste on the opinions of others. Instead, cherish the moments that bring you joy and the people who truly see and appreciate you for who you are. 4. The irresponsible. In the golden years of life, when the weight of past responsibilities begins to ease, the last thing you need is to bear the burdens of those who refuse to carry their own. The irresponsible, whether family, friends, or acquaintances, have a way of pulling you into their chaos, leaving you emotionally and often financially drained. Their lack of accountability becomes a relentless source of frustration, disrupting the peace and balance you've worked so hard to achieve. Picture this. A family member is constantly in trouble, financial woes, reckless decisions, endless personal conflicts. Time and again, they turn to you for help, always with the same plea. This is the last time, I promise. You extend a hand, believing that your support will finally set them on the right path. But the cycle repeats, and each time you're left exhausted, questioning whether you're truly helping or simply enabling their behavior. Irresponsibility isn't just about neglecting duties. It's about shifting the consequences of one's actions onto others. These individuals often rely on your generosity, knowing you have a kind heart. They appeal to your sense of duty, especially if they are younger relatives or those you've cared for in the past. But over time, their reliance feels less like need and more like exploitation, leaving you carrying a load that was never yours to bear. The Stoics teach us that compassion must be tempered with wisdom. Helping someone who refuses to take responsibility doesn't just drain your energy, it also robs them of the chance to grow. A person cannot mature without facing the consequences of their choices. By constantly stepping in to rescue them, you deny them the opportunity to develop the resilience and accountability they so desperately need. Setting boundaries with the irresponsible is not cruelty. It is an act of love. Love for yourself because you deserve peace, and love for them because true care does not mean shielding someone from hardship, but allowing them to learn and rise on their own. Begin by recognizing your limits. You're not obligated to solve problems that are not yours. If someone repeatedly asks for financial help, consider responding with quiet firmness. I'm sorry, but I'm not in a position to assist with this. Perhaps you can explore other options. This response does more than protect your resources. It encourages them to take ownership of their situation. And when they attempt to guilt you, implying that your refusal means you don't care, remember, your care can manifest in healthier ways. You can offer advice, provide emotional support, or simply be present without carrying their burdens on your shoulders. Your role is not to fix their lives, but to guide them toward fixing their own. As you navigate these relationships, always prioritize your own well-being. Your golden years are a time for joy, exploration, and self-care, not for carrying the weight of others' poor choices. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries, who appreciate the support you can offer, rather than expecting endless sacrifices. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not one-sided dependence. Reflect on the life you've lived and the lessons you've learned. You have faced challenges, made sacrifices, and overcome obstacles to arrive at this stage. Do not let the irresponsibility of others overshadow the peace you've rightfully earned. By setting firm limits and focusing on your own needs, you create a space where both you and those around you can truly thrive. Letting go of the need to rescue others is not selfish. It's a recognition of your worth, your time, and your energy. And by stepping back, you allow the irresponsible to finally step up. In doing so, you reclaim your peace, your freedom, and the joy that is yours to embrace. 5. The ungrateful. As we grow older, one of life's greatest joys is the ability to give our time, our wisdom, our love. There is deep fulfillment in knowing that our efforts, sacrifices, and kindness have made someone's life a little better. But nothing stings quite like the cold silence of ingratitude. When your generosity goes unnoticed, or worse, is met with criticism, it can leave you feeling devalued, disheartened, and questioning whether your efforts were ever truly appreciated. Ungrateful people have a way of diminishing the joy of giving. Imagine spending hours preparing a holiday meal, pouring love into every dish, only to hear complaints that it wasn't quite like it used to be. Or perhaps you've rearranged your day to help a friend, expecting at least a word of thanks, only to be met with indifference, as if your effort was not a kindness, but an expectation. What makes ingratitude so painful isn't just the lack of acknowledgement. It's the message it sends, that your time, energy, and care are not valued. Over time, this lack of appreciation weighs heavily on the heart, turning what should be joyful moments of connection into painful reminders of being taken for granted. But here's an important truth. The ungratefulness of others is not a reflection of your worth. Their inability to recognize your efforts speaks to their own shortcomings, not to the value of what you offer. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see, cherish, and reciprocate the love and generosity you bring into the world. Dealing with ungrateful individuals requires both self-awareness and courage. It starts with acknowledging your own feelings, recognizing the hurt without dismissing it. It is natural to feel disappointment when someone fails to appreciate you, but what matters more than their response is how you choose to react. One powerful step is to re-evaluate relationships where ingratitude is a recurring theme. Ask yourself, does this person add value to my life? Do they respect and appreciate what I do for them? If the answer is no, it may be time to set boundaries. This doesn't mean cutting them out of your life entirely, but it does mean limiting how much of your time and energy you are willing to give. If a family member consistently fails to appreciate your efforts, consider stepping back. Instead of overextending yourself to accommodate their needs, focus on what brings you joy. If they notice the change, you can calmly explain, "I've realized I need to focus on things that bring me happiness. I hope you can understand." This isn't about punishing them, it's about protecting yourself. Another powerful practice is redirecting your energy toward those who truly value you. Spend time with friends, neighbors, or community members who reciprocate kindness with gratitude and warmth. These are the people who will uplift your spirit, remind you of the beauty of giving, and make every act of generosity feel worthwhile. Their appreciation will nourish your soul rather than drain it. At the same time, it's helpful to reflect on why you give. The Stoics remind us that true generosity should never be rooted in a need for recognition, but in a deep sense of love and virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. If giving brings you joy, let that be enough. Find fulfillment in the act itself, not in how it is received." However, this does not mean tolerating disrespect or exploitation. Your kindness is a gift, not a duty. It should be appreciated, not expected. Recognizing your own worth means ensuring that your generosity is met with respect rather than entitlement. As you move forward, celebrate your own efforts. Take a moment to acknowledge the love, care, and thoughtfulness you bring into the world. Whether others recognize it or not, your kindness is a reflection of your strength and character. Ingratitude may sting, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is the love you give, the lives you touch, and the quiet legacy of generosity you leave behind. By focusing on those who truly appreciate you and setting boundaries with those who don't, you reclaim your joy and ensure that your golden years are filled with the respect, peace, and gratitude you so richly deserve. Protecting your peace. The gift you owe yourself. As we journey through the later years of life, our priorities shift. We no longer chase after endless obligations. We seek peace, meaningful connections, and a life free from unnecessary burdens. Who you allow into your life can either elevate your spirit or drain it. And knowing when to walk away is an act of wisdom and self-respect. Avoiding toxic relationships, whether rooted in manipulation, selfishness, criticism, irresponsibility, or ingratitude, is not selfish. It is an expression of self-love. You have spent decades nurturing, supporting, and sacrificing for others. Now, it is time to offer yourself that same care. Reflect on the life you've built, the lessons you've learned, and the strength you've gained. Do not let negativity overshadow the beauty of your journey. Instead, fill your remaining years with relationships that uplift you, respect your boundaries, and bring warmth into your life. Your golden years are a gift, a time to cherish what truly matters. Let go of those who drain you. Embrace those who appreciate you. Your peace is your legacy, and by choosing wisely, you create a life filled with joy, dignity, and fulfillment. These lessons are a reminder that your peace, your happiness, and your time are precious. You deserve relationships that uplift and honor you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What insight resonated most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's support each other on this journey. If this message spoke to you, consider liking and subscribing so we can continue exploring ways to live with strength and wisdom. Thank you for watching, and remember, your golden years should be filled with joy, not compromise. Stay tuned for the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into creating a life of true fulfillment.